or do you mind if I hang around and watch? Because it would literally just be like a bit of a quiet moment. Someone starts, to stand up, start banging their chests, and then everyone would get up and start singing, and it was awesome. Like, they really proved me wrong. Like, it was, one of the best ones, doing all like the dancing like this, and I can't do it.
Wait, do that again?
This is why I like being behind the camera, so I can do stupid stuff like that.
All right, welcome to Weddings in Focus. My name is Alvin and Brad, and we have Lisa.
Hello.
Today. All right.
Thank you for coming, Lisa.
Thank you for inviting me.
Before we jump into the topics, let's warm up with a few fun questions. Lisa, are you ready?
No.
Okay. First question. If you could plan a wedding for any fictional couple, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh.
Fictional couple.
Fictional couple. Oh, that's an interesting one. I am going to say Ron and Hermione from Harry Potter, because I'm a Harry Potter nerd. I think it would be super fun having butterbeer and, all that kind of stuff there. It would be quite fun to do.
Okay. Alrighty. Next question. What's the most unusual wedding request you've ever received?
Unusual wedding request. We had a wedding once that we had to hold swords for, because in the middle, while the couple did their signing, the groomsmen had a sword fight.
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
So that's probably the most unusual request that we've, standing there holding the swords for them until they had their sword fight. And they actually, one faked death and laid on the ground and everything. So
That's funny.
Okay. All right. So last one. If you're not a wedding planner, what would be your dream job?
my dream job. Oh, gosh.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah, I can't actually think what else. So, I love to travel. So something to do with travel would be awesome. Whether it be working in a hotel, managing a hotel somewhere on some island on the Maldives or something like that. Just, somewhere where I can just travel a lot. That would be good.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing those fun bits with us. Right, now let's dive into today's main topic, which is the importance of well-planned wedding timeline. Okie dokie. Lisa, how long have you been a planner?
So, coming up to, I think it's about 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
So we've started the business together, myself and my business partner Jess, and we took things slowly. We had young kids, and it was just a part-time thing. And then once I finished having kids, about 3 or 4 years ago, we were just like, okay, let's just dive in and see where this goes. And it's gone really well. So, the business has just gone up and up. And, we're really enjoying the ride it's taken us on. So
That's good. I think I met you last time when we were doing Open Day together, 2019. There was a Perth Hills wedding Open Day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was the first time I met you.
Yeah. Oh, my God, I totally forgot about that expo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shame those ones didn't continue, because that would be good for the hills.
Yeah. I still remember those days, because that was one of the first wedding Open Day that I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was one of, we used to just try and jump into any open day from that. And I think we were only, Jess only just had her last kid then. And it was just be we'll do everything. And now an expo comes up and I'm like, I don't want to do this expo. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I guess once we become more mature in the business, we try to be selective.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. You realise that you don't have to jump into every
yeah.
single expo to get your name out there.
Yeah.
You can be like, okay, is that going to attract my ideal client? Will they be there at that kind of expo?
That's
So
I think everyone's like that when you first started. Like,
yeah,
you know, you just want to get your name out
exactly. And you're keen, and not that you're not keen now, but you
Yeah.
know, it's that youngness and freshness into it all, and yeah, it's and then with like say the natural progression and growth in your business.
And you guys are very established, well-established company already.
Yeah,
so,
it's just nice to just do them every now and then, just to like keep your foot in the door, as it were, you know, in people's forefront of people's minds.
Yeah.
And like say with like the one that was just this weekend, it's a good networking opportunity as well. You always meet so many new people, or you're like, oh, I know you because I follow you on Facebook or Instagram, but I've never actually met you, so now I can meet you. And yeah, they are good for that too.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember when I first started doing photography, I just took some random jobs, small, usually small ones, some small ones until I got burnt out.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
that's it. You realize that you don't have to say yes to everything as well. Like you feel like you can't turn work down, but it's like, no, actually you can turn work down. Because you have to put yourself first, because if you're burnt out, you're going to do a rubbish job. And so, yeah, it's hard. It's taken me a long time to work that out as well, and not be like, I have to put everything into the business, you know, and do this, this, and this. And it's like, no, actually, you don't have to. You have to put yourself first.
That's right. So why wedding timeline is important?
They are so important because there are so many factors to the day and so many cogs turning and so many people involved. So the timeline has to accommodate all of this. And I think that's one thing that people just don't realise. And it's allowing enough time for everybody to be able to do their job properly as well. Like, you know, you want enough time for like a photographer to actually take some photos. You don't want to be like, oh, okay, you've got a 10-minute window there. And it's like, yeah, but if the lighting's crap here and you want to go over there, you need that extra time. And with that, like with photos, we've had timelines given to us when they haven't factored in travel. They're like, oh yeah, we're going off site. It's going to take us 20 minutes to get there, but we've only got an hour of photos. And it's like, okay, so that does not give you any time. Like,
and then they have to get back.
Yeah, exactly. You literally get out the car, take a photo, and be like, and let's go. So it's all things like that people need to realise they have to factor in. I always say to people with a timeline, my big things that I start with is what time the ceremony is, and then what time sunset is as well. Like some people say, oh, sunset photos aren't important to them, so then that's fine. But 99% of people want those golden hour pictures. So it's working out, like how much time we have between that, and we try and work out so they get all the photos done before they go into the reception as well. Because we don't want the bride and groom up and down, up and down, up and down all night.
And have a break before they enter.
That's it. And that's something that I think is really important, that they get at least 15, 20 minutes to just go somewhere to sit, relax. If the bride wants to refresh her makeup, you know, just, you know, bustle her dress, you know, they can do all that without like having to do it rushing to get into the reception.
Have a bit of food and drink as well.
That's it. And it's just like, and saying like with food and that, making sure they've got like a grazing box to go around with them when they're having photos done, if they're not factoring in a break. It's so much to think about. It's I could literally talk about it for hours, I think.
It's okay, we got time. We got time.
We got plenty of time.
So it's sort of when like with your ceremony, it's factoring in what time of year is it. So you know, winter you probably want to do it a little bit earlier, so maybe like a 2:30, 3 o'clock ceremony. As you get into summer, you can go a bit later, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, even 4:30 if you want. Depends what kind of wedding you've got going on, and where you are as well. Again, factoring if your ceremony and your reception are in two different places.
Where to travel.
Got to travel between, your guests have to travel between. Just so much to think about.
When you're doing the timeline, do you factor in the getting ready as well?
Yep, so from the ceremony, we work forwards and we work backwards. So it's like, okay, like your ceremony is at 3:00. So your guests are going to arrive from 2:30. That means the groom, if he's not already on site, needs to be there by about 2:15. So he's ready to be there and greet the guests at 2:30. If they want photos of the groom at the venue, then maybe get there at 2:00. So then to meet the photographer there, get some photos. And then factoring where the bride's getting ready. So how long her travel is to get to there as well. If she was getting ready at the venue, for example, we would say that she needs to be ready at least an hour and a half before. That's her makeup and hair done.
Yeah.
So if the photographer's not already there, if the photographer's arriving then, you can start doing your shots of her getting ready and getting into her dress, and there is no rush of like, she's got only ready half an hour beforehand and you're trying to do your shots of, the dresses and everything. And so then it's like, okay, how many bridesmaids have you got? Are they all having their hair and makeup done? Is mum having her hair and makeup done? Okay, whether you've got to factor in like an hour each for that as well. So then we can talk to the makeup artists. We send them the timeline, be like, is this happy? Are you happy with this? Have you got any issues with this? So it just works all the way back from like 6 a.m. to whenever they start getting ready. So then everybody knows, and we try and ask them as well, like, okay, out of your bridesmaids, who's going to have her makeup done first? So then it's all on the timeline as well. Some brides are like, no, you don't need to worry about that. We'll sort all that bit out. So we're like, okay, that's fine, and we will just start from when they need to be ready for the photographer, and then all the way through till midnight or whenever it finishes.
Yeah. The problem that I usually have at the getting ready, right? So let's say the ceremony is at 3 p.m. I usually start at 1, giving like maybe 1.5 hours or so for me to shoot the getting ready at the bride's room. When I got there, totally understand if her makeup and hair is not done. So we usually do the detail shots first. Maybe spend like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do all that, and then continuing to some candid shots when they're doing the makeups. The thing that I don't understand is, if the ceremony is at 3:00, I would assume all the makeup and hair should be done at least by 2.
But an hour before.
An hour before. And also considering the ceremony and getting ready in the same location. So 2:00, I think that's plenty of time. But the problem that I usually have, by 2 p.m., her makeup is not done yet. And it's dragging until 2:30. The makeup artist, what she's saying is like, oh, something's gone wrong, I totally understand. But if her makeup is done 2:30, that doesn't give me much time to do some photos.
Because then you've got to rush down to the ceremony and then get yourself ready down there. So you're just rushing around the whole time. That's why we sort of say, like, I always, with the timelines that we do, I send it to everybody, makeup artists, hair,
That's good.
Photographers, caterers, everybody that needs to know this timeline gets it. And I always say, please read through it. Let me know if you see any issues, because, I want to work together with everybody. But I do make it clear, hair and makeup has to be finished at this time. Because, otherwise it just makes they don't realise the roll-on effect it has on everybody.
100%,
it's not just, we're running a bit late. And obviously you don't want to put that onto the bride and be like, oh yeah, we're fine, it's all right. And behind the scenes you're like, oh gosh, and it's because it does put on that extra stress for you, running wherever you've got to run to. And that's why, it's so important just being like, just be like, oh yeah, well, I'll be finished at this time, we finish this time. We're like, no, okay, you've got to make sure that everyone can do their job properly. It's like with catering, we always give at least 45 minutes from, like, say, entree, 45 minutes between courses, or if they want to do speeches, because nobody wants to hear banging and clattering and that, and that usually gives the, if it's plated, them plenty of time to serve the food, people to eat, and then to clean up. And I get some brides that are like, oh, we don't care, and it's like, no, but you will do, and especially the person that's trying to talk, and there's, wait staff around, and, excuse me, can I just get to there, and bang in, and it's just, so it's like, I did a timeline the other day, and the bride had given it to me, and literally entrees were served, and 10 minutes later speeches were started.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, but you haven't even had chance to eat.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you going to do, So it's, I think we managed to come to an agreement on half an hour on that one, which was a bit like, okay, but, at the end of the day, it is their timeline, and I can only advise what to do.
Yeah.
But it is all these things that you just got to take into an account. And with speeches as well, I usually say restrict to 2 to 3 minutes max.
Yes.
Especially if they've got a lot of speeches. If they've got 4 or more, I always, even 3 or more, I'll split them up. Do like 2 and 2. Because, humans are useless creatures, and they cannot concentrate for a long amount of time. So once, like, the 3rd, 4th person starts talking, they've lost the crowd. So it's like short and sweet, split them up. Your guests will be thankful for that, rather than droning on. No, that sounds terrible. Not droning on.
I did a wedding reception. Was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. One of the speaker, when they're doing the speech, 15 minutes.
I've done
15 minutes. Everyone was like yawning. It's like, come on, hurry up.
Was it a parent? Was it a parent or like a dad?
It's usually the dad.
No, it's a dad. Yeah.
I did one recently with the dad, and he kept on being like, and to, I'll make up a name, Jane and Stuart, and people would be like, start clapping. He's like, no, I haven't finished yet, and they'd be like, oh, okay. And then you would go on, and then you would say their names again, and people said, no, I still haven't finished. And he was like, oh my God. So I think the best speech I ever heard from a dad was my best friend's, and he literally stood up and he was just like, Laura, I love you. Cheers. And that was it.
Short and sweet.
He was like, I've got nothing else to say.
Yeah. If that person is doing that kind of speech, it doesn't give us much.
I know, for you, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
like one way or the other. You're like standing there for ages, like, okay, I'm just going to keep taking pictures. Or you're like, oh, crap, I didn't actually get one picture.
For the first dance, how long do you usually allow first dance for?
I always give 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
I always give longer than what it would be, because, like, just in case we're running over, by that time of the night, I think we could either be running early in that aspect or over. So I always say, like, if they want to do the first dance at 8 o'clock, I'll do it till 8:05. And then as well, that gives prep time for everybody as well, for lighting and things like that. And with first dance, we're also getting a mixture. I don't know what you're finding at weddings, where people either want to do it as they enter straight away, or they'll do it later on to open the dance floor. So I think it depends on how nervous they are as well. And I think if you are nervous about it and you're going to be thinking about it for the whole evening, just do it on your entrance and get it over and done with. Because otherwise you're not going to enjoy the rest of the night. So, and I think it's quite a nice opener to the reception when they're coming in. At the end of the day, as long as you guys know about it, and if they've got a videographer, like, just do it then. You can open the dance floor some other way, or just the dance floor can just open, But yeah, I think either or either, whichever is going to make them happy. And that's the other thing, like, I try to drum into couples, it's your day. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. I get asked, oh, what's tradition? Doesn't matter what tradition is. Like, if you don't want to do a first dance, don't do a first dance. If you don't want to have a cake or cut a cake, don't do it. Like, it's it doesn't matter. Like I've got a few couples now that are just having dessert stations and not having a cake, which I think is awesome, because it's like they're like, oh, we don't eat cake, but we like cheesecake or desserts or whatever. And
Like lollies and
and you speak to a lot of like the cake makers now, and they're like, for the same amount of a cake, you can get a dessert station. So yeah, it's just do what you want and have fun.
Most of my clients, they actually don't tell me, like if they want to do like a normal dance or the choreograph kind of dance.
Yeah,
Like we usually, like all my couples, they're really shy.
yeah.
They just stand there in the middle, like moving left and right, and then that's it, right? And then usually if they do choreograph kind of dancing, they would go all over the dance floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I usually put my flash in the middle of the dance floor so I can angle them nicely. If they do choreograph, they usually go from left, if the groom on the left and the bride on the other one, and meeting up at the front, and then start dancing all over the dance floor.
Yeah.
Like I really need to know those.
Yeah, that's so
where
important
to
to know.
start. Yeah.
I had a wedding like that last year, and I didn't know, the photographer, the videographer didn't know, but the entrance was epic. It literally went on for half an hour. Big dance off, but nobody knew. And then suddenly, like, you could see the panic in the photographer and the videographer's eyes, because they were just like, oh my God, like, it was amazing. It was an absolute amazing entrance. Like, and I tell everybody all about it, but nobody knew about it. So it was just like this big, like, cultural entrance, and there was accordions there and drummers and everything. But yeah, nobody knew. Like, everyone sort of said to me afterwards, like, did you realise? I was like, not at all. No. And it's just, I think it just slipped her mind. I think because she was like just planning it as a bit of a surprise for hubby, she didn't think to tell everybody else. But we need to know.
Exactly. Was it like a cultural kind of?
Yeah, he was Bosnian.
Bosnian, okay.
And but yeah, it was amazing. Like, but yeah, just nobody knew. It was a big surprise.
yeah.
So
That's scary. I'd be scared if I was the one filming
Yeah.
it.
luckily the video
Like,
turned out
shit.
amazing, but it literally, like, you had to just get in the middle of like this mosh pit of people.
Yeah.
Something similar to Middle Eastern kind of wedding
With the drums and
with the drums and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was
a
fun.
loud entrance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did my first Jewish one
Jewish.
end of the year last year, and that was incredible to watch. And where you've got, obviously, the females can't dance with the males, so the dance floor was split in half.
Oh,
Right.
right.
Interesting. Okay.
Never had that.
Yeah, and then the girls that side, they were all very sedate and just going for it. And the guys, it was a mosh pit. Like, I got stuck by the bar with the venue owner. We were both just like, there's no way out. and you could see the photographer, he literally was like just elbowing his way to get in the middle of it. And I said to him afterwards, like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And he's like, not my first Jewish wedding. I knew what to do. He's like, you just got to get in there. But that was awesome to watch, and then they get lifted up onto the chairs
Oh, yes,
and
that was
that.
fun.
It was just so good, so good. Yeah, I'm loving all these cultural weddings now. I did this amazing Islander one as well. And I was really worried because they had nobody. They had no photographer, like nothing. They literally ordered some food, had some food, the venue, the celebrant was from the church, and that's it. A friend was going around with an iPhone taking the photos. They had no music, and I was just like, oh my God, this wedding, like, I just don't see how it's going to work. But they would just stand up and start singing. And I ended up staying there for like a good couple of hours after I should have gone. And I said to them, oh, do you mind if I hang around and watch? Because it would literally just be like a bit of a quiet moment. Someone starts, to stand up, start banging their chests, and then everyone would get up and start singing. And it was awesome. Like, they really proved me wrong. Like, it was, one of the best ones, doing all like the dancing like this, and I can't do it.
Wait, do that again?
This is why I like being behind the camera, so I can do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. That's why I love cultural weddings too. There's always something different.
Yeah, and it's just, I did my first tea ceremony recently. And the dad, I was like standing on the outside watching, and the dad was like, oh, is this your first one? I was like, yeah, it's great. And he was like, come on. And he dragged me right to the front. And I was like, no, this is for family. And he was like, no, they won't care. Like, they were the most beautiful people. And he's standing there all explaining it all to me and that. Nice. And I was just like, oh, can I be adopted into your family?
I did one like tea ceremony last weekend.
Yeah.
Just last weekend. Thankfully, they have a small family.
Yeah.
I think that the bigger the family is, it's going to be longer.
It was a bit. Like we had the ceremony at like 11 o'clock to be able to factor in. I think there was like over 200 people there.
Wow.
Yeah.
200 people.
Half of them went for the evening.
Yeah. I think with the Chinese culture, giving tea ceremony is like, so for example, the parents sitting down, and then the couple would be kneeling in front of them and then serving tea to the elderly. And then if the groom or the bride have younger siblings, the couple would sit down and the younger siblings would serve them tea.
Oh, I think that was the point I got to watch it from, because I think I was sort of sorting out stuff in the venue, and then I got to, and that was when the younger ones were serving the bride and groom and giving them gifts.
Gifts, yeah. The red pocket.
Yeah, there was lots. It was either like
red pockets or
could be jewelry.
Lots of jewelry,
yes.
and then money, and it was so interesting to watch. And then they had a table with people that they would pass the gifts on to.
Yeah. I've never done. Have I done Indonesian? Even though I'm Indonesian, but I've never shot Indonesian tradition.
What's the tradition?
Because I have Chinese background. We didn't do. Did I do tea ceremony? We didn't do.
You don't remember your wedding?
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Stephanie.
We didn't do tea ceremony back then. It was more like church and then photo shoot. Pretty much like normal Western kind of wedding. Yeah, back in the day, because we don't follow tradition as much. Yeah.
See, I got married in England, and it was completely different there, because we had our ceremony in the morning. Though we didn't get married in a church, but I say the morning, it was about 11:30, and then we only had 50 people to the day, and then we did photos, and then you have your like wedding breakfast, which is like just a big 3-course dinner. And then at about 5 o'clock, we had about another 100 people come to the evening. And then we had another meal come out. We had like a big buffet and hog roast and everything. So it's a really long day in England. Like my sister got married in a church, and I think she got married she was 11. But she got married in December, and we nearly got snowed in. And I remember the florists turned up at like 5 a.m. and we were like, why are you here so early? They were like, haven't you seen the snow? And there was like a foot of snow outside. We were like, oh no.
What time did you start doing your makeup back then?
I think it was about 6 a.m.
6 a.m.?
Yeah.
Standard now.
That's standard now, yeah. Even for a 3 o'clock wedding.
Yeah.
It's just like...
My wife did her makeup at 3 a.m. I remember.
Jesus. This one, with this big tea ceremony one, I think they started at 4 a.m. And it was just like, how she managed to get through the day, I don't know. I was just like, do you need anything? A Red Bull or something? It was crazy what you do for your wedding day. But it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you have so many great memories to look back on. And, and that's why, going completely off topic, but something again that when we're booking weddings for people, I always sort of push, like, if you got the spare money, definitely put it on a photographer. Like, it drives me insane when you see on social media, I need a cheap photographer or someone who's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. And it's like, well, you get yourself an arm and a leg photographer and you'll get that, It's, we had a friend do our wedding and I can't stand my wedding photos. I literally have one up on our fridge that a friend took. I just, like another friend, just, but the friend that was meant to do the professional photos, I can't stand. Don't like them at all. That was my biggest regret, and my only regret for my wedding day is my photos.
Did you have a videographer back then?
No videographer, because my dad was going to pay for it, but my husband didn't want it.
Okay.
And my dad used to shoot weddings, so his friend was going to do it, who also shot weddings. But then my husband's friend was a journalist photographer, and he was going to do it. But it's just completely different style of photos, you know. Yeah. And back then I didn't have a clue. I was just like, oh, it's just, you know, it's fine, he can do it. Whereas I think my dad obviously knew, and he was trying to put it on. I was like, no, it's fine, this guy will do it, it'll be fine. And then afterwards I was like, oh my God, I hate them.
So your job as a planner, you will always create the timeline?
Yeah, if we're doing the planning, we'll always create the timeline.
Yeah.
So we'll help them with the timeline, the floor plan. The planning we can do in different stages. Like we get some people that come to us and they're just like, I just don't have a clue, or I don't have time, I'm FIFO, or my job is just too intense that I can't put into planning a wedding. So we'll be there from the very beginning, and we'll find out what kind of venues they want, things like that. We have a questionnaire that we send out to them, so we get a bit of a feel of what they like. And then we can find venues for them, vendors that are going to suit them, or things like that. And then we're just there to just support them the whole way through. Because, you know, a lot of people only get married once, and they don't know what they're doing. And it is a hole. Once you get into it, you don't realise like how many little warrants there are when it comes to it. It's not just, oh, I'll just go and book this, and this, and this. And it's like, okay, but then once you've booked this and this and this, you've got to make that work with that and that, and communicate with that and that. And I was talking to a girl at an expo at the weekend, and she was like, oh my God, I'm feeling stressed, you even talking about it. And I'm like, and that's why you need me, because I will take that stress away. And or we get some people that have already booked a lot of stuff, and they're like, there's just a few aspects I need help with, so then we'll come in then. But you know, a wedding planner isn't always in people's budget, which we understand. So we really encourage at least get somebody there on the day, like an on-the-day wedding coordinator, because there's so much that can go on behind the scenes that you just don't want to be worried about, you know, all these little questions, you know. If a vendor turns up late and you're having to ring that vendor and be like, where are you, you know, or if someone doesn't have an extension cord, you know, we have our little toolkit that's got everything and anything in it. So, you know, they need to borrow an extension cord or anything, you know, moving items from ceremony to reception, setting up ceremony or reception, you know, there's, I'll get mum to do it, or my auntie would do it. And it's like, they will then feel pretty stressed for the day because they know they've got to do this job. Yep. They're not going to be able to relax and enjoy it. So just, you know, the money that it will cost to get us in to do it will be worth it for everybody, just to take that stress away. You know, we've had to deal with some random things. You know, our most popular thing that we tend to get at DIY weddings is they run out of alcohol. So it's like we always ask for an emergency contact on the day. So this is a person that knows the couple really well. Yep. So we don't have to go to the couple when we have a problem that we can't solve. So it's usually like dad or brother or sister. So usually tapping them on the shoulder, like, you need to go shopping for more alcohol, or you need to give us your card so we can go shopping. But again, you don't want to know about that. You don't want to tap on the shoulder saying, hey, you've run out of alcohol, because then that would just stress you out, you know. So, and with that as well, you know, we'll do your timeline, floor plan, you know, and we're there to just support the couple. I always send it to, like I think I said earlier, to every vendor to get feedback. Because, you know, for instance, you know, if I sent it to you and you were like, actually, I need a bit more time here for photos, or this isn't going to quite work, can we tweak this? Definitely. Like, I want to work with everybody. The frustrating thing is when I get to a wedding and a vendor hasn't read the timeline.
Happens a lot.
Yeah. So, and they'll ask something and I'll be like, haven't you read the timeline? Did you get the timeline? I emailed it to you. Oh, yeah, but I haven't had time to look through it yet. And it's like, well, it's pretty important that you do. You know?
Yeah, I do love having wedding planners get in touch with me before wedding day. It helps a lot.
It's just things like just, you know, and for you to know you've got someone that you can contact if there's something wrong. Like if you were running late on the day, you don't want to be ringing the bride being like, oh my God, I'm running late. You know, you can ring us and be like, I'm running a few minutes late, and then we can just come up with something to, you know, just be like, oh, you know, or whatever. They're stuck in traffic. They'll be here soon. Don't worry about it, you know, and then they'll be chilled. Yeah. It's, and, you know, and one thing we always ask as well, like, dietary requirements. Sometimes that gets not thought about with the couple. They don't think to ask the vendors. So we're like, if you're having a meal, do you have any dietary requirements? Or is there one shooter or two shooters? We've done quite a few weddings when they've only paid for one meal, like when there's two shooters. So it's all these extra things they don't know to think about, you know. So that's why they need us there on the day.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think as well as personal life gets into them as well. Yeah. So, you know, the timeline gets to us earlier than, you know, say the couple would promise you a timeline about a month before the wedding day and it doesn't happen. So when a wedding planner actually gives you the timeline, you know, you have a lot of time to tweak it a little bit or like swap things around.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah. We always try to have our final meetings like 4 to 6 weeks beforehand. And then I say to them like, okay, this is all good to go. I'm going to start sending it out and then bang, it goes out. Because I want it sent out as early as possible in case we do need to tweak anything or like the caterers come back and say, no, I need more time or whatever. Like it's something that can be worked on together with everybody. Like we're definitely not a planner that is, this is the timeline and this is the way it's going to be, because there's no point being like that because everybody's got to work together and to make the day the best day for the couple. So we are so flexible. And I say to the couple on the day as well, like, look, as long as you're walking down the aisle and you get married, if anything has to change on the timeline, as long as we know, the photographer knows, and the caterers know, and the videographer knows, that's all that matters. Like, the guests don't know the timeline. They're not going to be sitting there like, oh my God, they should have started speeches 5 minutes ago, you know, and get all angsty about it. They haven't got a clue. As long as they've got good food, good drink, good company.
Yeah, that's it.
They're just going to enjoy themselves. So I say to them, like, don't stress out if you're running late or even if you're running early. Like I've had a bride once, like, I just want to get into my reception. Can we get started? I just want to get in. So we did. We just brought everything forward and got her in early. You know, and like I say, I communicated with everybody and it was fine.
Get more body time then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what she was like. I think we skipped her rest. She was like, she didn't have a dress that needed to be bustled. Yep. She was like, I'm feeling good. Let's just get in there. So we did. It's just, and that's where, again, it's good having us there because we were able to communicate with everyone. And, you know, with the DJ, we were like, okay, let's move this speech here. Let's do this here. And then bang, done. Easy. So, yeah, it's a lot that goes on that people don't realise.
Now, let's talk about vendor's meal, right?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, vendor's meal. I don't understand why our meals always comes up after the guest meal.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this. We work very closely with a venue, and it is actually a conversation that we've had recently, and it's something that we feel very strongly about because it's like you are feeding vendors very last when they have been working all day. They are starving. They haven't had a break. And then you're feeding them when everybody else is finishing eating. And then they literally have to inhale the food and then run back outside because then that's when speeches, dances, whatever are happening. So we've actually agreed with the caterers that for a sit-down meal that vendors are classed as table 2. So the top table gets fed, the bridal table, and then vendors get fed second.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Photographers, and vendors need to be eating when the bridal party are
Exactly.
eating.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just going to miss stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand why this doesn't get done at every other venue. Like, why it's just not a thing that I know. It's something I wish that I could really get out there and just make send an email to all venues and be like, feed your vendors first or second. I just don't understand why they can't have a table there ready.
Yeah.
Sorry, I could read about
That's good.
I shot this weddings a couple of years ago. It was at one of the big venues in the city. The bridal table got their meals already, right? And then we were just chatting at the back with some of the guys. And then one of the staff just serving the guest food. And then I just came up to her and say, would you be able to serve us our meal? And then she went like, okay, we have to serve the guests first. The first thing that popped into my mind, I am one of the guests too. It's like I'm working and then I'm part of the guests too. Like I need to eat. Because they're about to start a speech, like in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have to serve the guest first. Oh, crap. Okay. And then
I hate that phrase.
and then the speech started, and then we missed the cue, the meal. And then after, I think it was like 15 minutes, 10 minutes speeches, one of my photographers came up to me, hey Alvin, the food is served, it's at the front. It's like, can't eat now.
Yeah,
shooting weddings.
I'm back working again now.
And then after the speech done, the food is already cold. Cold. So
yeah, no, I've spoken to a few photographers that they've said they've been to weddings and like they've finished, but they've hung around because they're so hungry that they've just waited an extra half an hour to eat because they're just, they're so hungry. And I mean, I know I've left weddings as well when I've meant to have got a meal. And then it's like an hour later and I'm like, I need to just go home. Like I've been on my feet, all day, have not stopped. And I just want to go home, and it's, I think it's something that really needs to be brought forward in the industry. Like, think of your vendors, we're not just robots on the day that can just keep going and going. Like we might have some chewy bar stashed in our bag and that's about it, or run past the grazing board and grab something, but we don't get a chance to stop and have lunch and relax. And yes, we know that's part of our job and we choose to do this, but we deserve to get fed as well,
We're humans.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something we do bring up to our couples. Like we do feel very, very strongly about it because it is just ridiculous. And having a decent place for vendors to eat as well.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
Not just sort of like, oh, you're in the hallway and here's a plate and stand there and eat, or go and stand outside in the cold, It's like, understand for some venues they don't have separate rooms and everything, but you can make a nice area for vendors to sit and be comfortable. It's not that hard.
Had a wedding recently where the bride and groom actually had a table for vendors and they had our little names on it too.
Nice. I've had a couple like that. It's nice. And I've been like, good. Oh, you don't need to sit me with your guests, but they're like, no, we want you sat with the guests, I think it used to be more common, but not so much now. Like, I think it is nice, especially for photographers. I know one photographer that I think she's got it in her terms and conditions that she needs to be seated near the bride and groom so that she can be like eating and watching them still. So if somebody, something impromptu happens, that she's still there with her camera to take a photo. So but no. We need a t-shirt. We need to be fed too. Something.
Second table.
Hashtag feed me.
But I've shot a wedding, and then when I got food, I was actually sitting in the corner of the room, just eating my food somewhere in the room. It was a small wedding though, but
normally it's like a separate
separate room.
room. You don't know what's happening.
At least if I have a table, I'm happy. Table and chair to eat.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some key elements to include on a wedding timeline?
Key elements. Gosh. Well, I suppose, obviously, when your ceremony is.
Mm-hmm.
And so my main things would be, obviously, ceremony and your reception. But also, you've got me on this one because I'm not thinking too much. Elements for who am I aiming these elements for? More of vendors or for the couple?
I think.
Couple.
Okay, I think when the groom arrives, needs to be, because I get a lot of grooms that are like, where do I, what time do I arrive? Where do I go? What do I do? So letting him know, or the person know who's coming, you need to be there at least half an hour before everybody else. And then obviously the ceremony time, if the bride is coming from somewhere else, what time she needs to be there as well. Sunset for photos, but not just the sunset time, the golden hour, the half an hour beforehand.
Yep.
Because obviously sunset photos is not, say, sunsets at 6 o'clock. That's not when you want to be going out, because that's when the sunsets happened. So it's factoring the golden hour, half an hour beforehand. I think that's important. I see a lot of that. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go out for sunset photos at that time. It's like, yeah, you've missed it. So, and other things like when the bar is opening and closing as well. And when food, like canapes and grazing board, when that's all starting too. So there's quite a few key elements there, I think.
That's good. Do you usually work by yourself on a day?
It depends what kind of wedding it is, but more often than not, there will be two of us. Big weddings, there will definitely be two of us. If we're just coordinating on the day, if it's for excuse me, sort of 70, 80 people, there will just be one of us can manage that okay. If we have to do any setting up, there will be two of us. Because then it's just, if anything happens while we're setting up, at least someone can stay setting up while somebody goes and deals whatever needs to be dealt with. But yeah, it depends on what kind of wedding it is, really. But I suppose most of our weddings we do setting up as well. So I'd say probably 80% of the weddings we do, there is two of us there.
So you and Jess?
It'll be either myself and Jess, or we've got a bit of a team now as well. So it'll be us and one of the other girls. So we're trying to make it a more work-life balance as well by getting a bit of a team on board.
So now you have 4 girls?
Trying to think. We have 3 girls now that are helping us out. So so we're hoping over time to just keep growing the team. And just be able to, supply our services more and, keep doing more, because we do cheesily love the job. People I love my job, but we do really love it.
That's good.
Do you have any tips that we haven't talked about yet for the bride and groom?
For in general, or for the timeline?
In general.
Hire a wedding planner, or
Yeah, definitely hire
yeah.
wedding planner.
I think just when you're looking for vendors, I know people are saying this, but it's really, really what they do on a screen.
Yeah.
But then you might go and meet them and you don't actually connect exactly. So then it's like, well, with a celebrant, it's super important because they've got to be able to tell your story. and you've got to be standing up there with them at the most important moment and one of the most important moments of your life. Photographer is going to be with you 80% of your day. So again, you've got to be comfortable with that person around you. Your DJ has got to be able to play the kind of music and get your vibe as well. And your wedding planner is going to be with you from start to finish, or your coordinator is going to be with you all day. So those people, your celebrant, photographer, DJ and planner / coordinator, definitely meet them. And just make sure you connect and like them, you know, because you're not going to invite somebody to your wedding that you don't like. Yeah. So why get a vendor that you don't like? You know, 100%. It's, and yeah, when you're looking for vendors, try not to put, I want someone that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, because you'll put off a lot of vendors. I personally will not reply. I won't put myself forward for anyone that puts anything like that, because I'm like, you're not my people, you know. So yeah, I just won't respond to those. So I feel really snobby saying that, but it's not. Well, you know what I mean.
I mean, an arm and a leg is like, what, 200 grand?
Exactly.
No, we don't cost like that.
I think somebody actually replied to someone once saying, well, if you want to get into it, this is what it's going to cost you for my arm and a leg. It's like, I thought it was the best response ever. So they were like, actually, I'm actually quite cheap compared to that. So. But yeah, it's research and, you know, and go with your gut as well. Like, it's, again, I've had a few people that have said, you know, like, I spoke to someone at the weekend that have already booked a venue, but then they've gone to another venue at the open day at the weekend. They're like, oh gosh, now we really like this one. And I was like, well, what's your gut telling you? Like, are you still going to be happy at this first venue, or are you going to be even better at this second one? And they were just like, yeah, I don't know. So I was like, go back to the first venue and see how you feel. And what does your gut tell you, and then go from there. So yeah, your gut is quite a good thing in many ways when it comes to telling you what to do.
Yeah. Do you always reply email or messages after hours?
No, I used to, but I've really reined back. I've actually put do not disturb on my phone now. From it was 8 till 8, but I'm changing it from 6 till 8 now. Because I'd get a message late at night and I'll just reply. And then it was becoming a standard, and they were, you know, weekends or whatever. And then if I wasn't replying, they were like, why aren't you replying? You know, and I was like, no, I need to be. I will only reply to messages Monday to Friday and that business hours, and that's it. Yeah. You know, I had to create that boundary 100%, because it was just stressing me out. You know, I'd be sitting there, you know, with my family and seeing emails pop up and be like, oh, I just got to answer this email real quick, you know. And I'm like, no, it will still be there on Monday. Like, if it's urgent, they can call me, you know. But yeah, it's so important to create boundaries.
What if it's like new inquiries?
Oh, that's where it gets me. That's one gets me. That's where I have to be. I'm usually a bit like, and I just go straight in there. But again, we've kind of changed our system as well a bit. Yeah. So they have to go through our website now and then book a meeting with us and things like that. So we generally don't get a lot of messages about come directly to us anymore. Because Messenger and everything like that. I've even changed it on our Messenger thing. You know, if this is a new inquiry, please go to our website and that, because a couple have snuck through, and I've just been like, I'll just quickly reply to
This past couple of weeks, I've had some random girls like messaging me asking for a quote via Instagram or Facebook Messenger.
Yeah,
it's like, I really don't like.
Don't
like that. Same. Because to be honest, it's because I cannot keep control of the info coming in. Like, I always tell them, hey, please visit my website, and then just send me an email via my website, so I can keep track of the calendar and all that stuff.
Same. That's how we do it now. We've got all our prices on our website as well now, so it's full transparency. they can see straight away how much we cost. So if they book then a meeting with us, then they must be okay with our pricing, and it's more of a serious client. I see it that way. Like, I think if they're just booking a meeting and they don't know prices and that, like, it's up to everybody how they do things, but I just see it as if we've got our prices there, it's very black and white. There's no suddenly like, oh, what's, we give them a quote and they're like, oh my God, that's more than what I thought it was. And it's like, well, it's all there on the website, so it'd be full transparency, I think.
Do you put all of the pricing there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's there. Only things that are on there are like travel and that, because that's based on wherever it is. Yeah. But all our package pricing, everything is there. So.
That's good. I think that's a good idea. Like if we put some sort of like starting price from or any kind of price on the website, because I used to have like some random guys or girls like messaging me, hey, I want to book you, and then when I send them the packaging and birds chirping.
Yeah, there the ghost appears.
Oh, you're too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I had someone I say how, if they come through, then they're genuine. But I did have someone come through recently. They were like, I want this package and this package. And I was like, okay, well, as you're doing the 2 packages, I will give you a bit of a discount. And gave them the price. And they were like, oh, yeah, but my budget's like $1,000. And I'm like, well, then we're not the people for you. Then I'm like, one alone is $1,000. And then you want to put another one on top of that. It's just, I can't do both for that price. Like, it's the same for me. And everything else we have to factor in,
Expensive.
No, it's like when the bills come through, you're like, can I just ignore that one for a little while?
GST.
GST.
Yeah, BAS and...
Yeah, the fun stuff.
Every 3 months.
What's your ideal timeline?
Ideal timeline?
For like if you had a reception, sit down meal with all in one place, what would your ideal timeline be?
Ceremony is usually half an hour, give or take. And then family photos, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then buffer time, maybe 5 minutes. By 4, if the photo shoot location in the same place, that's easier. If I have like at least between 45 minutes to 1 hour for photo shoot session, I'm happy.
Just for the bridal party or for the couple? Or a mixture of both?
Mixture of both. Yeah, I'm happy. I know the bigger the bridal party is, it's going to take longer. I used to have like 12 bridal party. 6 and 6 plus them, so it's crazy. African I used to do Indians weddings.
Wow.
Filipinos too.
Oh yeah?
10 on each side.
Yeah, I've got a big Filipino one coming up in August.
Right.
That's a big bridal party.
It's gonna take longer for photos.
They're always.
Yeah.
I know they want some fun photos with the bridal parties, but I think if we have like that kind of, as much as bridal party, at least half an hour to do bridal party photos.
Yeah, I usually do half an hour for bridal party.
Yeah. And then if we have like photo session with the couple, at least 15, 20 minutes, I'm happy. Yeah. And then reception, let's say reception starts at 6. If we have maybe half an hour before the entrance to do some getting ready, getting our equipments in the car, to do some detail shots in a room, that would be good.
Yeah. And with a group photo, I always encourage to do a group photo straight after the ceremony.
Yep.
Because then you've got everybody there already. Because if you do it later, then everybody disperses.
Hang on.
And then you have to try and get everybody to come back.
My question is, do you mean before they walk out?
No, literally they walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
And then I usually go and like go to the photographer and be like, in this area, where is a good spot to have the group photo?
Yeah.
And then I'll let the groom know and be like, okay, when you walk the bride back out, or you know, head to that spot over there. And then we'll get the celebrant to say, you know, everybody, you know, straight after the ceremony, follow the couple over there, and we're going to do a group photo straight away. And
that's a good idea.
Everyone can disappear after that.
Because usually what happens after the exit, the guests will congratulate them, and it's going to take ages.
Yeah, I always try and suggest as well to leave congratulations till the reception and get the celebrant to say that as well. Say, you know, we know you're excited, but please leave congratulations till afterwards. You always get an auntie or grandma sneaking in there. But yeah, be like, we're going straight into the group photo, and then the bar grazing table will be opened and go over there, sort of thing. So
yeah.
And the new thing that we've started, is not fairly new, we've been doing it for probably about 18 months, is that we encourage them to ask 2 people from the families that know everybody that can assist the photographer with photos.
Yeah.
So, because we're like, we can help, but we'll literally just be running around being
we
like,
don't know who's who.
Jane, Ian, you know, like, whereas if you've got 2 people that know everyone, they can get everybody there and make your process of taking the photos much quicker, rather than, you know, especially if you've got like 100+ people that you've got to take pictures of, and they want pictures of every single person, like, and make a list.
Yes.
So I found some photographers don't ask for a list.
Wow.
But I always say to the brides, please have a list of if you don't do a list of everyone, just your essential photos of who you want photos with. And I always get a copy of that as well, because if the photographer hasn't got the list, or I've been to weddings where they've mislaid the list, I can be like, here's a copy of the list, and then nothing gets missed that way. So it surprises me when they don't have one ready.
Yeah. That's right. I always ask the family photo list before the wedding, at least a couple of weeks, 2 weeks before the wedding. Yeah, it's really important. Like, I always have with me the family photo list, the timeline in my pocket, printed in my pocket.
Yeah. I always have about 2 or 3 copies spare with me on the day as well. Because like, in case it falls out of your pocket or something like that, the people that are helping with the photos, if they don't have a list, then I give them a list. Or DJ hasn't got a list of timeline for every reason, give them one. Yeah, always have spares of everything.
Printed.
I always use my phone.
Oh gosh, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I hate technology. So I'm like,
What happens if the battery dies?
yeah.
I always have spare battery. I have a power bank with me always.
Yeah.
I got this sorted, it's fine.
Because I do a lot more videos. So Alvin does a lot more photos. So he's in charge of the family photos.
Yeah.
I just leave it with him.
You're just a little creep behind.
Yeah,
that was the
that's
camera.
Yeah.
Where can couples book you or find you? Find more information, I guess.
Yeah, they can find us at Instagram or Facebook at Jem Wedding Planners, or our website, Jem Wedding Planners. Keep it very simple. So you can just go to our website and book in a call with us, and we can have just a chat and see about how we can help them on their day.
Can I ask why, Jem?
Good question.
We've been asked this a lot. It's nothing very. So when the business first started, there was 3 of us, and it's sort of like a bit of a mixture of everybody's names. So there was actually a Gemma, and then there's Jess, and my full name is actually Melissa. So that's where the M came from. So then it just got shortened to Jem, and we did the J for Jess. So it just got shortened to Jem. So that's it. And then it kind of just stuck.
Melissa. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that calling Melissa?
No. It takes me now people have been asking me that. I'm like, I have to tell everyone my full name.
Okay, Mel.
Oh no, that's just the worst. That is the worst. I think when I grew up, the accent in where I grew up is awful, and it just sounds, all right, Mel, and it just like so it's always been Lisa.
All right.
So Jem. So some people have said, oh, do people think you're a jewelry store or sell jewelry? It's like, no.
Cool. All right. It's been great chatting with Lisa. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.